My name is Chris DuBois. I was part of Team 2, and my job was the connector. And basically, what our team was supposed to do is defend the act of looting. What is looting? Looting, the definition of looting is to steal goods from a place, typically during a war, riot, or natural disaster. A lot of times, looting is theft from a local business during one of these times. And many of these cases, these laws cannot be upheld. This makes looting a reasonable action because there's no way to uphold the current laws in the situation. A lot of times as well, looting occurs because people need resources yet do not have the ability or time to purchase them legally. In this case, they loot. A lot of these times also, many of these stores are damaged and there's no owner or operator to help them purchase it in the legal way. Looting during a natural disaster. Looting is very current during these times. When natural disasters strike, there are certain necessities people need. These necessities could be rice, water, clothing, shelter, whatever it may be, to ensure survival and safety. A lot of these times, people do not have the time or the money or the ability to purchase these necessities legally. One connection we can make to the world with looting and natural disasters was Hurricane Michael in Florida. This top picture here represents people trying to purchase goods and necessities from a local grocery store, yet as you can see, this grocery store has been damaged. There's nobody here to help them purchase these goods legally. Therefore, they must take the goods that are still okay to use that they need. On the bottom here, you see the same thing. You see a packed grocery store, damaged supplies, and a man trying to take what appears to be ramen and cereal, two things that do not expire and are very important when it comes to times of disaster. The connection to myself, luckily I have not been in any of these times where looting was necessary, but I can only imagine that in a time of need, such as a natural disaster, that if it depended on my family's survival for me to loot a grocery store, or if a grocery store is damaged and there was no way for me to purchase these items legally, then I would have to loot to ensure the survival and safety of my family. Poverty is also very common in today's world, and some families have a hard enough time providing for themselves and for other people in their family during normal times, much less during natural disasters, which makes it hard on everybody. This just gives them all the more incentive to loot. Audience question. Do you think looting is morally acceptable during these natural disasters? Why or why not? Natural disasters hurt so many businesses and economies in so many ways, and especially the people in places who don't have much in the first place. Like I said, when these natural disasters hit, there's no way for these people to purchase these items legally anyways. Looting during war. A lot of times during war, havoc is caused, whether it be on purpose or not. Sometimes this havoc is strategically planned and executed by an enemy. This causes uncontrollable circumstances for their enemy. In some cases, militaries will even loot and raid towns for specific reasons. Looting in war is not uncommon and is considered to be thought of as taking from your enemy, who in case could use those items for negative ways or in their own aid against your military. Audience question. What are your thoughts on looting during war? Do you consider this a crime if it is for a good cause? Looting during civil protests. Civil protests are a very common source of looting. A lot of times, though, it is not about the items stolen or the property stolen or the money or the capital caused in damage. When looting happens at a civil protest, it is more about sending a message than it is about stealing the property. Looting is just another way for protesters to send out their message to the people it is intended for. It is not meant to harm any person or individual. just the property that is taken. At the end of the day, it is just property, it is just money, it is no harm to any singular person, but just harm to the system. Connection, Minneapolis riots. The riots in Minneapolis were caused by the death of George Floyd at the hands of the police. This was the final straw for the oppressed and served as the breaking point. This led to many of what some people called riots and looting that many people thought unnecessary. But in this situation, they were left with no other choice. Those who sided with the act of looting did so not with the ideal hatred towards the store owner or anybody associated with that company, but hatred towards the system. And they had to send out a message to those who do not respect them. This message was, we will not tolerate anymore. Audience question. Do you think looting is an effective way to send a message that you believe is not being heard?